Hello everyone, welcome to Botany optional channel for the UPSC examination. In today's video, we are going to see the economic and the ecological importance of bryophytes. This topic has been given in your syllabus in a paper 1, chapter 2, that is cryptograms. We have to study the ecological and the economic importance of all the cryptograms, in which in today's video, we are going to see the bryophytes. So in the first part of this video, we are going to see the economic importance of the bryophytes. The economic importance of the bryophytes can be studied under these 7 headings, namely peat formation by the bryophytes, then medicinal uses of bryophytes, antibiotics from bryophytes, then phytochemicals from bryophytes, application of bryophytes in experimental botany, then bryophytes as a sources of food, and then bryophyte as a pollution indicator. All these 7 applications of the bryophytes we are going to see in this video. So the very first application is the peat formation. This peat is formed by the bryophyte called sphagnum plus other mosses. Other mosses and the sphagnum combinedly form this peat. Now this peat looks like this. You can see in the photograph. This is the peat and this is the sphagnum plant which produce this peat. Well, the big part of producing the peat is performed by the sphagnum. That is why the sphagnum is also called as peat moss. So how this peat is formed? There is a process by which this peat is formed. In bog areas, this bog means the wetland areas. Alright. The wetland areas are also called as bog areas. In bog areas, this sphagnum species grow luxuriantly. The lower portion of these sphagnum species is die regularly. Due to this, the vegetative matter on the ground has been accumulated over time, and from each passing year, this vegetative matter got compressed by the fresh matter, or say hardened by the fresh matter that has been produced by the sphagnum. Now, this compressed and the hardened matter got converted into the thick organic matter. Over time, due to the compression, this vegetative matter got converted into the thick organic matter. This compacted, partially decomposed, and carbonized dead plant material is called as the peat. The peat is an compact, partially decomposed, and the carbonized dead plant material, which is primarily made up of the sphagnum bryophyte. Alright. So this is the peat, which is formed due to the bryophyte called sphagnum and the other mosses. And now, what are the economic importance of this peat? Alright. So we are going to see the economic importance of this peat is the very first importance is the peat can be used as an fuel. This peat can be used as an fuel. In many countries, the peat is generally taken and used as a fuel. Then by the process of fermentation, this has been used in the production of ethyl alcohol. The peat used in the production of ethyl alcohol. It also has a great application in the horticulture. Alright. So the peat, which is formed from the bryophytes, is used as a fuel and in the production of ethyl alcohol and in the horticulture. So in the peat formation by the bryophytes, we have seen the peat is produced primarily by the sphagnum and the other mosses. That is why sphagnum is called the peat moss. And how this peat is formed, we have seen that in the wetland areas, sphagnum and the other mosses grow luxuriantly, and the lower portion of these sphagnum die regularly, and that is why they form the vegetative matter cover on the ground. And each passing year, the new vegetative matter has been added, and due to this compression, vegetative matter got hardened and thick organic matter is formed. This thick organic matter, which is compacted, partially decomposed, and the carbonized dead plant material is called as peat. And this peat can be used as a fuel in the production of ethyl alcohol and in the horticulture. All right. So the second economic importance of the bryophyte is their medicinal use. The bryophyte called Marchantia polymorpha is useful in pulmonary tuberculosis. So the bryophyte, that is the Marchantia polymorpha, is useful in the disease called pulmonary tuberculosis. All right. Second bryophyte we have here is a sphagnum. We have seen about this sphagnum in the peat. All right. This sphagnum moss is used to cure the problem relating with eyes. The sphagnum moss is used to cure the problems relating with the eyes. The next bryophyte we have Polytrichum commune. Now this bryophyte is used to dissolve the kidney stones. The next medicinal use of bryophyte is a sphagnol compound. Now this sphagnol compound is produced from the distillation of peat tar. In the last slide, we have discussed about the peat, how peat is formed. And from this peat tar, if we distill this peat tar, we got the compound called sphagnol. This sphagnol compound is used in the skin problems. All right. So we have here the Marchantia polymorpha, which is used in the pulmonary tuberculosis. Then we have sphagnum, which is used in the problem relating with the eyes. Then we have polytrichum cumin, which dissolves the kidney stone, and sphagnol compound, which is the product of distillation of the peat tar, is used in the skin problem. So all these are the medicinal uses of the bryophyte. You should carefully remember the names of the plants. All right, that is the Marchantia polymorpha, then sphagnum, then polytrichum cumin, which are used as a medicinal bryophytes. Again, in a special mention, you have to remember about the sphagnol compound. This sphagnol compound is produced from the peat tar and useful in the skin problems. All right, so these are the medicinal uses of the bryophytes. The next application of the bryophytes is their antibiotics. There are some species of the bryophytes which are antibiotically active species, namely Concocephalum, conicum. This species of the bryophyte is considered to be the antibiotically active. Again, we have in the list is the sphagnum, which inhibit the growth of Staphylococcus aureus and Pseudomonas species. So the sphagnum is being an antibiotically active bryophyte is able to inhibit the growth of Staphylococcus aureus and the Pseudomonas species. That is why the sphagnum is also called as the antibiotically active bryophyte. The third plant we have on the list is Polytrichum, which is again an antibiotically active bryophyte. So there are some bryophytes which also produce or act as antibiotics. The first is the Concocephalum, conicum. Second is the sphagnum, and third is the polytrichum. All these species are relating with the antibiotics from the bryophytes. All right. The next application of bryophytes is that they can produce the variety of phytochemicals, unsaturated lipids, fatty acid esters, flavonoids, triterpenoids, and phenolics. All these phytochemicals are very important from the human point of view, and that is why the bryophytes are the source of these phytochemicals. We have seen the five phytochemicals from the bryophytes. First is the unsaturated lipids, second, fatty acid esters, then flavonoids, then triterpenoids, and the phenolics. All these the compounds are produced by the bryophytes, which have usefulness in the respective fields. All right. The next application of the bryophytes is in the experimental botany. Sphaerocarpos. This is the very special bryophytes because the mechanism of sex determination in plants was discovered for the first time in this plant. So you should remember this plant as a Sphaerocarpus, in which the mechanism of sex determination in plants was first time discovered. All right. So this plant has a very important application in the experimental botany. Then there are some studies on the polyploidy on the bryophytes. So these things makes the bryophytes important in the experimental botany. The next economic importance of the bryophytes is bryophytes can be the source of food. Then again we have here is a sphagnum plant. This sphagnum sometimes used directly as a food, and sometimes this sphagnum is used to make breads. in some countries. All right. So this sphagnum can directly be used as a food, or it can be used in the preparation of bread. So the bryophytes can also a source of food. Then we have application of bryophytes as a pollution indicators. Again, we have here is the same plant called sphagnum moss. This sphagnum moss has the ability to absorb the metal from the surrounding. So by studying the sphagnum, that how much metal it contains in a percentage, we can calculate the atmospheric pollution. All right. So the bryophytes, that is the sphagnum, can also act as a pollution indicator. So we have seen the economic importance of the bryophytes. Now we are going to see the ecological importance of the bryophytes. All right. Under the ecological importance, we are going to study the four ecological importance of the bryophyte. First is the bryophyte helps in the soil conservation. Then there is a formation of soil and the development of vegetative cover. Then bog succession, and then bryophytes as a rock builders. All right. So the very first is bryophytes helps in soil conservation. Now, as you can see in this photograph, the whole ground area is covered with the bryophytes. All right. All these are the bryophytes. They are densely populated. Due to this, it has a two advantages. First, rain does not directly comes in contact with soil. That means whenever there is a rain and if the forest cover is densely populated by the bryophytes, then that rain first come in contact with the bryophytes. To move the soil, that is the soil erosion, rain has to come directly in contact with the soil, right? But due to the presence of densely populated bryophytes, rain does not come directly in contact with soil, and in this way, the soil remain as it is. Furthermore, in the second advantage of this cover is these bryophytes have ability to hold the water, and due to this, the water does not saturate in the soil, and that's why the runoff of soil is avoided. So here we can see the bryophytes have formed the carpet on the floor of the forest, and this carpet avoid the direct contact of rain with that of soil. And secondly, these bryophytes has the ability to hold the water for a longer period of time, and that means that water is slowly given out to the soil. And due to this, the runoff of water is avoided, and consequently, the runoff of the soil is also avoided. In this way, bryophytes helps in the soil conservation. All right. The second ecological application of the bryophyte is the formation of soil and the development of vegetative cover. As you know, we have seen in the topic called succession, the lichens are pioneer of soil formation, right? But soon after the lichens, mosses, that is the bryophytes, comes into the picture, which again speed up the process of soil formation, and we call the process of soil formation as a pedogenesis. So, in an ecological succession, both lichens plus bryophytes helps in the process of pedogenesis, that is the formation of soil. All right. The second part is the vegetative cover. Now, as we have seen in the last slide, the bryophytes covers the whole ground area in forest. So by covering the whole ground area, and it gives the support to the other plants and animal species to survive in that condition. So the formation of soil and development of vegetative cover are both are the applications of the bryophytes. Bryophytes not only helps in the formation of soil, that is the pedogenesis, it also covers the ground of the soil, and that is how it going to conserve the soil as well as providing shelter to the other small living organisms. All right. The next application we have here is a bog succession. As we have discussed that bog means the wetlands. Now in the picture, here you can see the wetlands. These wetlands are first occupied by the bryophytes, and bryophytes convert this wetland, especially the sphagnum. plus other mosses forms the peat, and this peat act as a ground for the seed germination of hydrophytes. So now in this water area we have bryophytes plus the hydrophytes. Now over a time the peat formed by these bryophytes and the remains of these hydrophytes together this forms the mat on this aquatic habitat. That means the solid mat of organic matter is placed on this aquatic land. This aquatic land were firstly the sterile land, right? That means there were no living plants or animal is living there. But this sterile land is gradually is converted into the solid vegetative cover. And now these solid vegetative covers or support the all plants. So in an ecological succession, in a Bog succession, the bryophytes and the hydrophytes performs the very important function of converting the aquatic sterile habitat into the solid vegetative cover which support the all plants. All right. The next application of bryophytes is a bryophyte as a rock builders. Now, bryophytes can also build the rock. In a one application, we have seen the bryophytes can convert rock into the soil. That is the process of pedogenesis. In the reverse, bryophytes can also be act as a rock builders. Now let us see how they can build the rock. The bryophytes like bryum and hypnum grow in association with aquatic algae, Chiara. This combination of bryophytes and the Chiara grows in lakes, springs, and streams. That is, the combination of some bryophytic species plus some algal species like Chiara grow in lakes, springs, and the streams, which contain the large amount of calcium bicarbonate. These plants convert this calcium bicarbonate into calcium carbonate. Now, upon exposure, this calcium carbonate got hardened. All right, and this hardened calcium carbonate later converted into the rock. And again, this rock can be used as a building block blocks in the construction. So this is how the rock is formed by the bryophytes. Some bryophytes like the bryum and the hypnum grow in association with the aquatic algae, namely Chiara. The combination of these grow in lakes, springs, and the streams where there is a calcium bicarbonate. And due to the presence of these plants, this calcium bicarbonate got converted into the calcium carbonate. Now, upon hardening, this calcium carbonate is converted into the rocks. It got so hard that it can be useful in the construction of the buildings. All right. So this is how the bryophytes also act as a rock builders. So in summary, we have seen the economic importance of the bryophytes, in which first we have seen the peat formation by the bryophytes, and in the peat formation we have seen the sphagnum as a peat moss, all right, and how peat is formed in the wetlands. Now this peat is useful for the fuel to produce the ethyl alcohol and in the horticulture. Later we have seen the medicinal use of bryophytes, in which we have discussed about the Marchantia, polymorpha, then sphagnum, then polytrichum, and the sphagnol compound. The antibiotics from the bryophytes, we have discussed the Concocephalum, conicum, which is antibiotically active bryophyte, then sphagnum, which inhibits the growth of Staphylococcus and the Pseudomonas bacteria. Alright. Then we have seen the phytochemicals from the bryophytes, namely unsaturated lipids, fatty acid esters, flavonoids, triterpenoids, and the phenolics. Then we have seen the application of bryophytes in the experimental botany, and we have discussed the plant called Sphaerocarpos, in which the first time sex determination in plants has been discovered. So this is the very important plant, and similarly, other polyploidy studies were also done on the bryophytes. And later we have seen the bryophytes can also act as a source of food. Sphagnum is directly used as a food or to make the breads. Then we have seen the bryophytes as a pollution indicators. The sphagnum being able to absorb the metal can indicate the atmospheric pollution. And later we have seen the ecological importance of the bryophytes. The first ecological importance of the bryophyte is help in the soil conservation. And we have discussed about how they were densely populated in the forest, and they avoid the two things mainly. They avoid the contact of rain directly with the soil, and they hold the water for longer time. In this way, they avoid the soil erosion. Then we have seen the bryophytes come from the soil as well as they form the vegetative cover. As you know, in an ecological succession, we have seen the pedogenesis done by the lichen plus mosses, that is the bryophytes. All right. So these bryophytes then covers the ground area and provides shelter to the other small organisms. Then we have seen the bog succession, in which the wet land is completely converted into the solid vegetative cover which support all the plants. All right. And again, the sphagnum, peat forming moss, is perform very big role in the bog succession. Lastly, we have seen the bryophytes as a rock builders. How bryophytes can build the rocks. That is the bryum and the hypnum can form the association with the algae, that is the chara, and they live together in a lakes, springs, and the streams where there is a calcium bicarbonate, uh, which is later converted into the calcium carbonate, which upon hardening got converted into the rock and can be used in the buildings construction. All right. So I hope you like this lecture. Please, if you have any doubt, please comment and share with your friends who are studying the botany. See you soon in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.